darts and retro arcades, all in a stylish over 21s lounge setting. Now, this South African original was even crowned International Arcade of the Year in 2022, the year of its opening, was it not? Whether you are out with friends, hosting a party, or planning the next team-building showdown, Cracker Zach's is where competition meets cocktails. Joining us is the man behind the fun, Guy Caminsky, founder and CEO of the Fun Group. Guy, thank you so much for your time and welcome to The Upside.
Tebogo and Nompumelelo, thank you very much for having me. It's only a pleasure to be here.
Guy, let's talk about the inspiration for Cracker Zach's. I mean, we have the Fun Company. That's where we all go and play for arcades. What then inspired an adult-themed fun company, if you will?
Well, that's right. It's I wish it was a better story, but essentially I've got kids as well as most of you, so the Fun Company is where we hang out. And I was actually overseas with my business partner and friend, and we wanted to do something fun, and as to the usual drinking and bar, and he said, let's go bowling. And I said, well, we don't want to go overseas and hang out with kids. And we couldn't find a place that really fitted the bill, because traditionally every 10-pin bowling centre would be surrounded by an arcade, I guess.
Yeah.
And we kind of said, wouldn't it be cool if we could have a place just for adults? And it didn't really exist. The model didn't exist. And we said, no, well, it would be a brilliant idea if we could do it. And he said, well, we should do it. And then from that international trip, the airplane and the nights while we were overseas, we started creating and designing, and we wanted it retro, and we wanted it upmarket, and we wanted all these things. And we threw all these ideas into a hat, and out came Cracker Zach's.
I'll tell you, Guy, as a mom myself, it's a brilliant idea, because sometimes you really do just want to play and have fun, right? And have access to all the amenities and games that children do, but just at an elevated level. What unique features then are there to Cracker Zach's that aren't in a normal Fun Company?
Well, that's right. So, essentially, I think the combination being inside Fun Company, that you can have your kids right next door, but you're in an adult environment. So I think that a few things made it successful. But one of them being the unique activities, because it's not exactly the same as 10-pin bowling that you would do in the Fun Company. We do something called hyper bowling, and where normally you wouldn't want to throw the ball in the gutter. You wouldn't, but here we color code the gutters with LED lights.
Yeah.
They strip lights that run down the entire length of the bowling lane. And then we have multiple levels, like an arcade game, if you could imagine. And different colors would multiply your pins being knocked down by a different score. And as you elevate yourself in the levels, so the colors will change, eventually get to a point where the colors start shifting up and down. Then there's negative scoring, and it just becomes very intriguing and something very different to what you would normally do. So that's on the 10-pin bowling side. And then the other side is we do what's called augmented reality darts. So you're still physically throwing the dart, but the dart board is an interactive screen. So you, instead of just playing a traditional darts, you can only do one form of darts if you like it.
Sure.
Here, our dart board itself can play multiple games on a cork board, essentially, that we project a screen image onto it. And then the last thing is we did the retro arcade, the picture you can see above my head, bringing back the Puckmans and the pinballs, all the stuff of yesteryear.
I'm getting excited just talking about this because I've been to Cracker Zach's a few times. It is 21 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African time. We are talking to the man behind Cracker Zach's. Guy Caminsky is the founder and CEO of the Fun Company. The conversation continues after this. If you have any questions for him, +27 63 406 9126.
Você é fluente em português? É apaixonado por rádio e quer trabalhar na África do Sul? Você tem documentos que o qualificam para trabalhar na África do Sul? Nesse caso, podemos ter uma oportunidade para você trabalhar no Canal África. Envie seu currículo e demonstração para Canal África newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Lembre-se, se você não receber alguma resposta nossa em 14 dias, isso significa que você não foi selecionado. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
Join Tebogo and Nompumelelo on the upside, where optimism meets opportunity.
22 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African time, we are still in conversation with the man behind Cracker Zacks. Guy, why 21? Because in South Africa, from the age of 18, you are considered an adult. You can go and vote. You can drink. But why do you have an age restriction from 21?
It's a good question, and it's something that we debated at length when we were getting going. And we felt that the line between fun company, obviously where you could go and bowl, and then getting into the drinking age.
Yeah.
We just wanted, because we obviously own both and they would be in the same venue, we just felt it might be a bit too close together. So we wanted a real differentiator but between the two, you know, and then we went with the 21, which has proved successful. And I think most 18-year-olds, because we've had them in our stores, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, once they do tend to get to that adult age for the first time, I don't really want to come back to a fun company type style for 18, 19 and 20, and then they've kind of had their, you know, their varsity or whatever they've been doing, and they're ready to come back and, you know, bring back the good memories they had as teenagers at that point. We don't really have that market 18, 19, 20 anyway, so we felt the risk was pretty low because they want to go and do something different once they get to, you know, to legal age for driving and so on. So that was where we felt the line, and then we also felt we wanted it up market, and we just felt the 21-year-old is slightly more mature. They've been around for a bit longer, and we're very proud of the environment you're drinking in, because we are trying to keep even more adult. You know, we really think it was for the dads and the moms as opposed to the 20-year-old. That's where we kind of saw that was, you know, your kids playing next door, and you be able to watch the sport, or, you know, play darts or bowl or play some games in an adult environment. So we really thought it was for adults who had children, really. So, I mean, we kind of thought the age group could be 25, but 21 is where we landed. And in fact, it's been even more surprising that the 22, 3, 4, 5-year-olds really loved the retro vibe of it, even though they can't really remember pinballs like a 40-year-old, you know, like I am. You know, the older dads and moms can remember the pinballs, but they love it as much as we do, because retro's become cool again.
Yeah, look, it's the aesthetic appeal of then also posting on social media, but I also wonder how you keep it relevant, particularly because in the entertainment space, you know, you are competing with so many other options and preferences. But about that.
It's a difficult one, because we have, in South Africa, we have many bar opportunities, if, you know, cocktail bars in particular. But where we saw the gap is that it's a physical entertainment as opposed to sitting and having a drink, you know, in a fancy cocktail bar. Here we refer to it as competitive socializing. It's something a little different. And what you'll see with Crackers X going forward is we will keep finding new activities to do. So, for example, if you come to Crackers X to the back end of the year, you'll see we're introducing shuffleboards, which we're very excited about. So we will be the ones doing the physical activity. There's an interesting putt-putt concept with automatic scoring for putt-putt.
Oh, wow.
We can't fit it in Crackers X in the zone, but it's something that we would look to introduce to another store.
Right.
Or, you know, we want to maybe keep each store a little bit different with their activities, so we're not copying and pasting and becoming just a chain store as yet. So we'll design them all a little bit bespoke, Some might not have bowling. Some will have darts, maybe shuffleboard, the putt-putt. And there's been a real drive worldwide to create this competitive socializing environment with all these activities. But our differential will always be the activity and not the actual drinking.
Sure.
Oh, love that. And then expansion plans, Guy, are we going to see other cities have a Cracker Zacks as well?
For sure. I mean, it's a big part of our plan going into 2026. I keep forgetting we're in 25 already and nearly halfway through the year. It's unbelievable. But for sure, we want to be in every metropolitan city in South Africa in the next 2 to 3 years. So we have a big rollout plan in conjunction with the fund companies.
And Guy, tell us about, for those who have not been to Cracker Zacks, are you booking online? Can you get to the door and just walk in? What's the process?
Yeah, it's a combination. If you a birthday party group celebrating something, or a corporate function is probably our best thing really to do. The traditional go and have a lunch and sit in a long table and your boss is at one end and you're at the other. This is really interactive. Your boss is right next to you. You get to know people in a much more relaxed setting. Right. So that's probably our biggest one. We have a call center people can call into. We also have a website. You can go by our website and make bookings. And in addition, you can also do a walk-in if you want to come in with some friends. You're welcome to walk in. The only time really is probably December when with a lot of corporate functions. A lot of corporates will hire out the entire venue, so that can be the only time walk-ins. We do notify people on our websites if there is a corporate function, which there happens to be one tonight. We have Deloitte who have taken the venue for this evening, so please don't hear and run and say, I heard the owner saying walk-ins are available and they turn you away at the door. But it is on our website. If you ever want to come, just take a look and we will put closed if the venue's closed for a private function. But yeah, walk-ins and bookings are very welcome. But even if you are a big group, even if it's not a birthday or a corporate, maybe 6, 8, 10 people, it is advisable to phone and book because it does get busy over Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
And just, a note for the parents, you can drop your child over at the fund company while you go. Would you be able to monitor them in any way through like the window not?
Yep, we have a mesh, so you can see them.
Okay. All right.
From the Cracker Zack side, and they can see into your side. So they are literally a mesh wall away from you. If you're bowling and they bowling, you literally could be actually next to each other because the lanes run continuously. We just put a mesh wall between the two. And you can, obviously the arcade's large, so depending on where they are in the arcade, you potentially could see them. But the nice thing is that it literally is in the store. So you're welcome to keep walking backwards and forwards and check on them and how they're doing. Hopefully top them up with some more money and keep them playing while you enjoy another drink. But it is, obviously Cracker Zacks does sit within the fund company.
Stunning.
Oh, Guy, it's been amazing having you on the show and incredible work that you're doing. We can't wait to see the rollout of the Cracker Zacks elsewhere, not just in Rosebank, but everywhere, not just in South Africa, actually, around the world. I would love to see a Cracker Zacks in Kenya, in Ethiopia. I think that would be fantastic. But thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Well, thanks, guys. Have a good show. Thanks very much.